Joining me in the studio now is rock band The 109s from Fleet. They describe their sound as relentless guitar hooks, harmony vocals and crisp dynamics. We've got Damien and Matty who are on vocals and guitar. But before we have a chat, let's get a quick taste of what they sound like. What is your sound? What are your influences? What do you sound like?
Well, I mean, fanatic of the guitar sound of the late 60s and early 70s, and so really that's what we wanted to try to emulate. You know, bands like Zeppelin, Black Sabbath, AC/DC as well. All of those influences went into the melting pot at the beginning. And then, yeah, out of that we've sort of brewed our own mixture. It's riff-based music, but with slightly sweetened with the harmony vocals as well, and also quite a lot of sort of guitar solos, which most modern bands don't do very much. But exactly, yeah. But as I'm the lead guitarist, you know, I make sure there's lots of guitar solos.
So it's definitely having to sing.
But you've said in the past that you never kind of learned in formal education how to play the guitar.
No, of course not. No.
Of course not. Lots of people do.
No, well, that's perhaps why very few people are playing guitar solos, because back in the day when I was learning, you had to do it by ear, and by doing it by ear, not only do you learn how to play it, but you learn how to use it. It's very much, well, I mean, I speak fluent Spanish as well. It's very similar to learning a foreign language, whereas nowadays there's so many YouTube videos that people can learn to replicate the notes, but you're not learning how to use and to piece those things together. And yeah, you know, that's you don't necessarily have to have a musical training in order to play music. You know, in fact, it can be a hindrance.
I'll just say though, he is as good as it gets. You've got to see it to believe it, and really, you have to. So,
I mean, some people would say, you know, you guys are, you know, coming into your second youth now. You're not the spring chickens of other kind of rock groups or like big bands out there. Does that have an influence on what you're doing and how you're doing it?
I think it does. I think experience counts for a lot. You know, if you look at jobs, anybody that's more experienced going in. I mean, we've played gigs for going on 20 years, and there's a difference between playing your tunes and performing them. And but you know, having said that, yeah, you know, we don't ever see it as an issue or consider it to be an issue.
No.
We love what we do, and I'll be doing.
I mean, I think the big difference is that the music scene nowadays, young people are far more egalitarian in their music tastes. You know, because I mean, you've got the Stones who are performing in their 70s, and nowadays with it not being sort of so much album based, but rather being I like that song and I like that song and I like that song. It's you know, people put their playlists together and they don't really pay attention to the age of the band, and also as well, you know, we don't want to be rock stars. I just want to be a musician now. You know, I'm not thinking about, you know.
Yeah.
And you've released your first album, came out last week.
Yep.
We're going to play a track from it in a minute, but just tell me a bit about it.
Do you want to do that?
Really, we were sort of struggling to pick. We've got so many tunes in the album, you know, and they all could have been singles, to be honest. But we chose Open Road. I think it's got a bit of everything in the sound, so it covers a bit of all of our different sounds. But we do tunes which are definitely heavier, and we do other tunes which are perhaps of a different sort of influences as well. But it seemed like the logical choice. So yeah, Open Road's the.
All right. Well, let's hear Open Road then.
Give me an inch, I'll take a mile. on track. Give me a chance to leave and I'm never coming back. Give me a memory and I hold on to the past. No, I ain't gonna slow down, 'cause I'm going way too fast. Gonna trade in my own life, say goodbye to the past. I'll see you on the far side.
A clip there from Open Road from your first album. What's it like kind of seeing it on the television like this?
It's wonderful, absolutely
buzz.
wonderful.
It's a real buzz,
yeah.
It's
Excellent.
Yeah, and especially with the video, it's it's so professionally done. It's just it's fantastic.
Yeah,
Yeah.
where did you shoot the video? You've got some shots of some lovely kind of sunny roads. Was it?
Yeah,
it looks like it's in America.
the
Or was it
imagery-
not?
Yeah,
Was it here?
They're well,
The image of me stood on top, that I was actually stood on top of Caesar's camp, and there were people walking their dogs behind me as that was
but
filmed.
you're right actually to say that a lot of it was shot in California, I think it was, by somebody who'd been on holiday there and had he'd been on a road trip and
Okay.
yeah,
So we just
and so
fused it
it
in.
just fused perfectly.
Oh, some clever editing going
Yes,
on.
indeed. Yeah.
definitely.
Well, that's
And just before we go, the 109s, that's what you're called. Tell me about
Yeah.
how you came up with that name.
very quickly. I was researching a novel that I was writing at the time that was set in the World War II, and I was reading a book about the Battle of Britain, and I kept on seeing the name Spitfire, and I was thinking, man, that's such a cool name for a band. However, it's been done already. So then I began to think about other British planes, Hurricane, Tornado. Those names were instantly discounted because they just sound like 80s hair metal bands. And then I noticed, well, the German plane, the Messerschmitt 109, and 109 just rolls off the tongue. It perhaps is not the most patriotic of choices, but yeah, there it is. The 109s. It's just it doesn't really mean anything.
Well, it sounds great to me. Matty, Damien, thank you very much for coming in.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.